One last question. And when you mentioned at the beginning, the Kickstarter campaigns, like say an inventor, and something that might confuse a lot of people is how can an inventor raise $500,000 in a successful Kickstarter campaign and then go bankrupt? So like that, they're saying, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. So can you explain that? And say an inventor starts a campaign and they get overwhelmed by this amazingly positive response and a lot of money comes in, what should be their next step? So talk a little bit about both of those scenarios.
The quandary, the problem is that they don't understand the budgeting when they go into it. So they go, all right, I'm going to have to pay this much for the platform to use the platform and this much for the payment processor. So there's, 8 to 10% that's just gone immediately. And those folks will take their money before they give you anything. So they take it. All right. So that means then if you start the campaign, and this is where a lot of times it comes back to haunt the inventors, that they start the campaign and it's not doing very well. They go out and they hire a marketing company. Well, that marketing company is going to take somewhere between 10 and 20% right off the top. Well, if your budget then has been based on a certain number for the manufacturing, and that's what people are paying for, right? Now you've got an additional expense you hadn't expected in the beginning. And so that's got to be paid up front. Well, now you're still obligated to fill those orders. And if it was based on, $9 a unit, and now you only have $7.50 a unit, the rest of that's coming out of your pocket. And depending on how many were sold, so if you've got a campaign that, and this was what I saw some of these guys do, is that their target was 120,000. Well, they hit 500,000. That means they had sold a lot of units, and they had to then be able to manufacture and ship all the units that they had promised, even though the money had been taken out of their account before they received any of it. And for inventors who they have hard costs, I mean, the products are already on, we used to say a slow boat from China, but they're already shipped or they're in a warehouse here in the States. So they have exact cost. Then they know the numbers to play with. If they plan on hiring a marketing company ahead of time, all right, now they can adjust the numbers before they launch the campaign. So it's the marketing companies that you see that make the biggest difference in a successful campaign or a failure, because you have to create the crowd. This is not one of those things where, if you post it, they will come. They don't know you're there. All right. So the marketing campaign, they've got to buy into it. They've got to be the ones that are frequently setting up the page and the launch and getting ready for it. They find the followers that want the product. And so when I tell an inventor, it's like, you've got to bring the crowd to the campaign before you launch it. Well, a lot of them, they don't know how to do that, especially if they're older and social media is not their big thing. If they're working to, fund this hobby they've got, they're not going to have time to go out and grab the crowd. So they hire a marketing firm. Well, if you're able then to price the product based on hiring the marketing firm, now you've got a shot at it. Now you've got, a chance to do it. But hard numbers prior to launch are critical.